My first attempt at priming this model wasn't all that successful, so I'm stripping the priming layer off of it. I do this by placing the model in a small 3-ounce mason jar with a screw-top lid and dripping a small amount of Green Stuff World paint stripper into the bottle. The model doesn't have to be covered because it'll roll around in the jar getting coated. To strip the model safely, you need nitrile gloves and goggles, and the fumes are extremely strong, so do this outside. And if you have any type of chemical sensitivity, don't do this. The nozzle for the bottle of paint stripper is like the Vallejo paint nozzles, and if you squeeze the bottle, the nozzle will pop off and the liquid will go everywhere. It'll ruin all furniture and paint, so be very careful to just drip it into the mason jar and don't squeeze the bottle. This stuff works very quickly by getting under the paint layer, lifting it off the model as it evaporates. So the evaporation rate is pretty fast, and that's one of the reasons it smells so bad. So keep the lid closed and reclose it immediately after you open it, and don't hover over the bottle even when it's outside, and make sure you leave the bottle or jar of liquid in a storage shed outside under lock and key, away from children and away from fire and heat sources. You can reuse the chemical quite a few times, filtering it when the former paint chunks start to cause trouble, but in any case, the chemical will be very fast acting, especially when it's fresh. I usually leave the model in the solution for 5 to 10 minutes. Then I will scrub the model while it's still in the container with a cheap craft brush that has a plastic handle that I've pre-tested to make sure it won't dissolve in the paint stripper. This breaks free any loose paint from the surface and allows more of the chemical to get underneath the paint layer. I repeat this process usually only once, and then I fish the model out with a hook-shaped wire and close the lid again and take the model and brush to the garden hose. Using very low pressure to keep the chemical off of me, especially careful to not get it into my eyes, I rinse the model and the brush really well for about 3 or 4 minutes. Then I use a little soap and water, brushing the model again, and do a final rinse, and let the model air dry for a full day outside. Since I know that the odors coming off the model could prevent the paint from adhering correctly, I make certain that they are entirely gone before bringing the model back inside to be painted again.